welcome to another Purveyor of Light Photoshop quick tip. Today we're going to go old school. We're going to go ahead and bring back the Polaroid. For those of you old enough to remember what Polaroids were, at one time they were the thing to have. Instant developing of your film. And they have a nostalgic appeal even today. And so I thought it would be kind of cool to take a photo, modern day digital photo, and convert it into a Polaroid picture. As you can see on my screen, I have some Polaroid stock image here of the frame. And if you don't know where to get those things, it's really simple. Just go on your web browser and you can go to a site like this, which is deviantart.com, and just do a search for the word Polaroid. You'll come up with all kinds of Polaroid frames that you can use. Go ahead and download them, totally free. And so I've selected this one for today's tutorial, but as you can see here, they have several different types, collages of them and so forth. So there's my Polaroid frame that I've downloaded and put into Photoshop. And then I selected this photo here of this couple in the field. And I says, okay, this will be perfect for making a Polaroid out of. So the one thing here is we have a modern digital camera picture, which is sharper, more contrast. It's much better than what a Polaroid could shoot back in the day. The Polaroid cameras, were nowhere near as good as our cameras today. But we're going to go ahead and take care of that. So we're going to fool the eye and make that believe that this photo was taken way back when. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take this photo, and I'm going to use the Move tool, and I'm going to simply drag it and drop it into our Polaroid frame. And there we are. Okay, and it's obviously way too large for the frame of the Polaroid. Not a problem. We're just going to simply do a free transform, Command or Control T. And if you have like here where you can't see anything yet, no handles are visible, just simply hit Command or Control 0, and that will show you the handles so that you can actually size up the photo. Okay, and then you don't have to be exact. Just get it approximate. Okay, leave a little bit of extra so that you can move the photo around. All right, and hit enter, and now we have the photo. And we're going to turn this off for now, and we're going back to the Polaroid. Luckily, this step is very easy. What we want to do is we want to select the black area or the frame and leave it just the border. Photoshop, again, makes this incredibly easy. Since we have a solid color here, we can select this area with almost one click. So with this layer selected, I'm going to come up to our toolbar and I'm going to select the magic wand. And I'm going to go ahead and simply click anywhere in the center of the frame. And you could see that it has done a very good job of already selecting the area for us. We have a couple strays, but just single pixel dots. We can fix that later. So there we are. All right. So now I'm going to, with that selected, I'm going to select the photo above, and I'm going to go ahead and paste this in with a layer mask. So I'm coming down here and I'm going to select layer mask. And you can see it put a nice layer mask, exactly the same dimensions as our frame. So when I turn visibility back on, you can see our picture is exactly the way it should be in the frame. Okay, so now we want to move this picture around so that it's framed just the way we want. But if we go ahead and select the Move tool and we try to move things around, that's not quite working out. The mask and the photo and everything moved, and that's not what we want. We want to be able to move the photo independent of that mask. So I'm going to hit undo, Command or Control Z, and you'll notice here in the layer, you'll have a little link, okay, a chain link. Just simply click that. that delinks the mask from the picture so that they can be independently moved or changed. So with that unlinked, I'm now going to use my move tool. Oh, good lordy. I apologize. I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. Select the photo, okay, so that I can move the photo around and it leaves the mask in place. Okay? When I'm happy with that, okay, I'd say we're good. Now what I need to do is, I said, okay, we've got this old Polaroid frame, but we got a modern digital photo. And you can tell it's too contrasty, it's too sharp, it doesn't look believable. No, if I handed this to you, as a Polaroid, you'd go, no, it's not right. So we need to make our photos look a little bit aged, okay? Maybe even de-sharpen them if we have to. So we're going to go ahead and jump in and put a curves adjustment layer above this, and we're going to make it a clipping mask, okay? So that this way, this curve adjustment will only affect the layer below it and nothing further. Okay, because we don't want anything to affect the Polaroid frame. We just want to affect this picture. So looking at this one here, we need to turn it into a vintage look where it faded a little bit, the colors have faded a little bit. Okay, so come to the lower left here in the shadow areas and drag it straight up. Looking at, you can see how much we're fading the thing. How much? That's up to you. Okay, I'm going to say about right there. Okay, and you'll notice here, this is what we did is we decreased the contrast, made it the faded look. Okay, and now I'm going to just put a couple spots on this, and I'm going to increase the contrast just a little bit, darken the shadows a little bit. Okay, and turn that on and off, and I think that's pretty good right there. So what we've done is we've used a single curve adjustment layer to give it that vintage look. Okay, it makes it much more believable that this is an old Polaroid. Okay, so we're looking pretty good. The only thing that I'm looking at here is our edges around the frame. You see this here where the frame meets the picture? I'm not buying it. It's not realistic enough. Okay? So what I want to do is I want to try to increase this because, in a Polaroid, the frame, the picture in that is recessed slightly inside the frame. And we need to increase that look. And I think we can do that just by selecting the couple layer and then selecting the mask only. Okay, only the mask. So make sure you're on the mask, the white mask area. And what I want to do is I just want to blur this a little bit so that we can make it look more recessed and blend more evenly in. So I'm going to go up to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and I'm looking only at the edges of the frame. Okay, you can see by blurring how much believable. Now we have a recess, and I can adjust this to taste. Okay, on how much I want to do. Okay, and that looks pretty good to me. Again, there's the before, and there's the after. Again, we're only concentrating on where the picture meets the frame. All right, just one added dimension to make the believability. So I'm going to hit OK. And so now we have our thing, and I'm going, that looks pretty good now. I'm starting to believe that it's a Polaroid. The colors match, the age looks, it looks like it's a film in a frame. Let's give it one more level of detail to convince somebody this is an actual old photograph. So let me do this. I'm just going to come in and select a text. What's wrong with you? Let me make a new layer here. All right. I swear, since they have done the last update on Photoshop, they have done, I think they introduced some new bugs. But anyhow, okay, so I'm going to put some text. Now, if you're lucky enough to own a digitizing tablet, just make a new layer and then just simply sign and write directly on the photograph with your digitizing pen. If you don't have one, we're going to do like I'm doing here. Just put a text layer, and we're going to do some work on that text layer to make it believable. So let's call this Forever Young. And now drag it into position. And you go, doesn't look very believable. It looks like I just put fresh black ink over it, and let's just text over it. It's fake. We need to make that look real, okay? And in order to do that, we need to do some blending and some layer styling to this to make the ink look like it's physically soaked in to the frame. And it's very, very easy to do. So I'm going to go ahead and come onto the text layer, and I'm going to double click on the background layer of this, and it's going to open up the layer style. And you'll notice that we have blend if sliders here. At the very bottom, you have one called underlying layer. All right. And we're going to blend these two so that the ink looks like it's actually soaked up into the frame, maybe even a little bit faded here or there. So I'm going to come to the white slider. I'm going to hit the Command or Control, and I'm going to split that. Okay, so you notice I split the triangle into two by holding that key down. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply slide, and you see what's happening to the ink? See that? The more I slide that down, the more I'm fading it, making it soak into it. You could see now that we're showing signs that the ink is actually skipped where the recess went in. And we've got a much more believable effect that the ink is now on this frame. And the next thing I look at it, I go, well, that's not bad, but I want to take it a little bit further, because as humans, we're trying to replicate someone with a felt tip pen writing on a Polaroid frame. And nobody writes this perfectly flat and straight. Okay? So we need to give it a little tilt, a little bit of realism so that it was actually handwritten. So again, with the text layer selected, hit Command T, and we're going to grab one of the right-hand corners till the symbol. Soon see the arrows are diagonally here. You raise up above and they go to a curve. When it goes to a curve, that enables you to rotate your text ever so slightly. And there we are. Now it's completely got that human look. That looks like it was handwritten on the Polaroid frame. And I think we've done a pretty good job here. And I'm going to call this one done. So again, you saw how easy this whole technique was. If I was doing this without, explaining the details, this whole technique wouldn't take more than two or 3 minutes to do. So there we are. We have taken a nice digital photo and put it into a Polaroid frame, give it a personal touch, and there we go. So you've got your vintage Polaroid photo. So I hope you enjoy this, and I'll talk to you next week. Take care.